Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time seeing one of my videos, this is the second episode of our HTML for Beginners series. We are building your web development skills from zero to a pro. So in the last video, we created an HTML page which looks just like this on your screen. Basically, we have the logo, we have the navigation menu, and a call to action button. These are the things that we added on our HTML page in the last video. Now, imagine visiting a website that looks just like this with only text and words and all that. It won't look good, right? It looks boring. So today we are going to dig further. We are going to see how we add images. You know, we have already added links, but we can still look at it again. We are going to learn how to add forms. What are forms? Forms, these are used to collect information from the user. For example, if you want the users to give you their name, their email, phone number, so you use HTML forms. And we are going to learn how to do that today, and also tables, right? So without any other things, let us dive right in. So below this HTML5 tag called the nav, we are going to put a new tag called section. And in this tag, we are going to add an image. So how do we add an image? To add an image, you use an HTML self-closing tag, which is img, right? So in this tag, we are seeing three areas. We are seeing img, which tells us that this is an image tag. We are seeing src, which is an attribute that will help us point to the exact location we are fetching this image from. And we have an attribute alt, which is where we describe the image that we are showing to the user. We are going to save, let me see, I have a couple of images in my folder, so make sure you have put an image in the same exact folder with this HTML index.html file. So with that, we can just say footer.png, right? Footer.png. .png is the extension of our image. It could be JPEG, it could be WebPeg, it could be GIF. So make sure you type in the correct name of the image and extension. And in the alt, we are going to say this is a footer image. Now, when we go to our browser, we can't see the image. Oh yes, so this is because the image that I chose is actually white and we are using a white background, so we can't see it. So let me say right, let me say bg.jpg. So when we go to our browser, you can see we have an image. Now we can add other attributes like width to control the width of our image. If we say maybe 500, the image will be 500 pixels wide, right? And if we say height, the image maybe 300, the image will be 300 pixels wide, high. So as you can see now, this is how we add an image if the image is within the same folder as our HTML file. Now what if we have created a different folder for this image? So let us create a folder here within your VS Code. Click on the folder icon and create a folder called images. And let me go to Pixabay, get some free images to use for our example. I'm going to save the image in our newly created folder. So now, if you are to get an image that is within a folder that is in the same folder with our index.html file, we have to come here and put in the source, we are going to put a slash, type, go to our folder. As you can see, VS Code or Visual Studio Code, our text editor, is showing us that we have two files, we have two objects in this folder. We have the images folder and index.html. So we are looking for the images, and in the images we have this image. So when we go back, this is how our page looks like, right? So that is how we add images to our HTML file. Now we are going to look at creating links. Now we have used links before, right? In our navigation, we have these 8 tags where we point to the home page, to the about us page, and to the contact us page. So now here we are going to look deep into links, right? So we are going to put our A tag just like so, and in this A tag we have one attribute for now, which is href. The href is where we put the link pointing to where we want this link, we want this A tag to go, just like we said before in the previous video. So for example, the link text is Uganda, and we want this link to point to somewhere called uganda.com. So we put uganda.com in the href of this a tag. Now, there are other attributes that we can use on this a tag. For example, if you want to open this link in a new tab on your browser, currently if we click here, if we click on this Uganda, we open this link on the current tab. But let's say we don't want to do that and we want to open it in a new tab. What do? We put another attribute called target. So we say target blank. So when we set target blank, we are basically telling the browser to open this link in a new tab. So if you go back to our website, click on Uganda, you can see now it has opened in a new tab. Right. Now, we can also use links to open or to navigate to sections on our page, and this we do it using IDs. Now we shall talk about IDs a little bit later, but now let us see how we can use links to navigate to sections on our page using IDs. Here we have about and contact. So we are going to say section ID is equal to about. We're going to put an H1 of about us. Let us create another section of contact us, and then we put an ID of contact. Now when we go back here to our navigation menu, we shall put an hashtag and our ID, which was about. Same thing with contact. Was it? Let's change this to lowercase. Now when we go back to our website, click about, you can see we immediately go to about us section. When we click contact, same thing happens. So that is using IDs within our links to navigate to sections on the same page. Let us move on to creating forms on our page. Like I said before, we use forms to collect data from our users. For example, maybe you are creating a site where you want people to create accounts and log in. So you will need their names, you need their email addresses, they will have to use passwords and all that. Or maybe you want people to contact you through the website. You also need their names, maybe their phone numbers, and a message. What are they telling you? So we are going to use forms to collect that data. Now, how do we create forms? We have an HTML5 element called form. So we say type form. Now, when you type form, you can see we automatically have an attribute called action, right? So here in this action, you specify and tell the browser where you want to send this data. If you want to send it to your email, we shall talk about how to collect this data and send it to different places when we get to learning JavaScript. But for now, we are dealing with HTML, so we don't need to dive deeper into this action thing. Now, for us to collect user data in our form, we need to somehow make a user type in this data on the browser. And for that, we have elements, HTML elements we use to do that. And one of them is input. Input. And inputs have types, right? If you want to collect an email, you don't use the same type of input you use to collect maybe a phone number or passwords or just random text, right? So you use different inputs. So here, let's say we want to create a name. We are going to use a text input. If we want to create an email, we use email input. The input type is email if you want to collect an email from the user. If you want to create a password, if you want to collect a password, the input type is password. If you want to collect a number, a phone number, the input type is telephone, and so on and so forth. You can also try to learn this according to the data you want to collect. But for now, let us collect the name and the email, and also the message. What is this user telling us? So we need somewhere with a little bit of bigger space where the user can type maybe 1,000 words, 100 words, and so on and so forth, which is not good to collect with input texts. So for this, we are going to use another element called text area. So in this is where the user is going to type their message. So when we go back to our browser, visit our website, this is what we see. Here we put text, maybe your name is John, and your email is john@gmail.com. That is where you put, and here we put the message, hello my guy, right? Now, how do we send this? I mean, just typing it in does not automatically tell the browser that now I have finished typing, you send. No. We have a way to send it, and that we use a button. And this button will also have a type, and the type will be submit. So we are going to type button submit and say send. So if you specify a button and give it a type of submit, whenever somebody clicks or taps on that button, this automatically tells the browser that this person X or the user is trying to send something to somewhere, right? So we need that button to send form that the user has typed in our form. All right, the next thing we are going to look at is tables. Okay, maybe you have some data that you want to display in table format. We have an HTML element called a table. That's what we use to display data that we want to display in a table format. So for that, we are going to say table. Now in this table, we have two sections. We have the head of the table and the body of the table. So the head of the table is maybe where you describe the kind of data that you have in this table. For example, maybe you are collecting information about people, right? You have their names, you have their age, you have where they stay, and their date of birth, right? So you have to tell someone that this is the number of people, this is the name, this is their age, and this is their whatever information that you have. So we have the T head, right? This is where we put the descriptions. For example, we have to put a row. So we say TR, which is table row, and TH. So here we are going to say maybe number. Then we say name. Then we say date of birth. What else? Then we say village. So when we go to our browser, this is how the table head is looking like. Now, the next section is table body. So we say T body. And we also put a row, table row, and table data. So this is number 1. The name is John. Date of birth is 11th of November 1904. And the village is Uganda. Oh no, Uganda is not a village. The village is Burambi. So when we go back to our website, you can see we have that data in a table format. So if you want to add more people, you add a new row with the new data. This is the second person. This is James. This is 01 16 94. You add the village, right? And so on and so forth. So that is how we create tables in HTML. Let us do this practice challenge. In this practice challenge, we are going to create an HTML page called profile.html, and we are going to create a name on that page. We add our image as a profile. We add a short biography of who we are, maybe, then a table listing 3 of our favorite movies, and a simple form to create name and email of people. So follow along. Feel free to pause the video or go back and see how you can do it on yourself without having to rewatch this video. So let us start. Okay, in our folder we create an HTML page called profile.html, right? So remember I said when you press Shift 1, you put an exclamation mark, and press tab, then you get what we call an HTML boilerplate, so you don't have to type everything from scratch. So the page is called profile page, and here we said we are adding a name in an h1 tag, and my name is, feel free to add your name. And the other thing we are adding is an image. You can add your photo. So we say img. I have a folder called images, and I'm going to add the photo that is in that folder. And the alt tag, we are going to say this is my photo. This is what describes your photo. And the other thing we are going to add is a short description in a p tag. So I'm going to use some random text using lorem ipsum. So I'm going to put 45 words. Okay, feel free to type out your own bio. Maybe you want to continue developing this page for your portfolio. Feel free to do that. And now we are going to create a table with 3 of our, favorite movies, right? So we are going to say table head, table row, table head cell. Here we're going to say number, and we say movie title. Then we say, I think that's enough. You can add, just to practice, add more rows of the information that you feel like you should put there. So we are going to say another row, and the data in here is 1. The name is Iris. We put another row. The data here is 2. The name is Prison Break. We put another row. The data here is 3. And the name is Athena. All right. The other thing, we want a contact form, right? So we are going to put a form element. Maybe we can also put an h2 tag here. We say contact form, and we are collecting the name and email. So we can wrap a div of name. We can put a label to show that here we are collecting the names, full name. We can put an input of text. Now here in the ID, if I say full name, and also in the for attribute of our label, we say full name. That means on our website, let us open it, profile page, open it. If you don't have live server installed, just navigate to your folder and double click on the file. So the reason we have put full name as an ID and this put the same ID in the for attribute of our label is so that if one clicks on full name, then automatically the input attributed to that label is put in focus so that you start typing your full name. Yeah, so that is very helpful also. So we are creating a name and email. So you are going to put another label as well with ID email address. So an input is email. Now remember, we said you can't send this data anywhere if you don't have a button that tells the browser that, hey, if someone clicks here, make sure you send this data to here and here. So we are going to add the button of submit and we say send. All right, so that is it for our challenge, right? So you have done a very great job, and today you have learned how to insert images on an HTML page. You have learned how to create links and make them more dynamic. You have learned how to build forms and collect user data, and you know how to add tables, right? This is it for our HTML course, and with this you can be able to build any HTML page. You can go ahead and visit the documentation on the MDN website. I will put the link in the description below so that you can learn about other HTML tags and elements, but basically that is it for our HTML. So in the next video we are going to be learning CSS, you know, making our website beautiful and visually appealing to look at. And if you have found this video helpful, please like it, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, and don't forget to comment below with any of questions. If you want a question or if you want me to post your challenge result, please, I would love to see what you have built, and see you in the next video.